Have you seen this new tool from Sizzix? This is called the Stamp and Spin, which goes with their stamping platform, and it is amazing. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 different techniques to how to use your Stamp and Spin to make some pretty cute handmade cards with a little bit of a Christmas theme, but you can use them for whatever stamp sets you already have. So if you've been on the fence about whether or not you want to grab yourself one of these Stamp and Spins, or if you have one and you want to learn some fun new techniques, this is the video for you. I'm Erin Reed of Erin Reed Makes, and I'm a lover of all things creative and crafty. From the arts and crafts to planners to stamping and card making, I love all the things. Not only do I love to make them, but I also love to travel around and find new stores and also new events to share my crafty love. Oh, welcome to my channel. So this is the Sizzix Stamp and Stencil tool. If you've not yet checked this out, this came out a couple years ago. It is basically their version of a stamping platform that has a removable hinge lid. So if you just want to do some basic stamping on here, you're totally welcome to. And it's just acting as a stamping platform. This one is brand new. I've not actually used it. And this is the sticky mat that comes on here. And the cool thing is that you can take this platform off and add in the Stamp and Spin, which is what we're playing with today. So this is the Stamp and Spin. It clicks right in. It's super easy to install. I mean, it's pretty basic. The whole system is, oh gosh, how long is this? This is about a little longer than 12 inches, maybe 14 inches, and it's about 9 inches tall. So it does have a lot of use. You could use it for more than just card making. You can make bigger cards, smaller cards, even into like your scrapbooking or planning, or even into some fun home decor. The whole point is that you stick your stamps on here, you spin this, and it creates an element. You can see there's grid marks on here to help you. You can see kind of the gridding that's on there. We're going to be playing with this to make 5 really cool, fun, and easy cards using this Stamp and Spin platform. Now, I've been showing you guys the perfect pristine Stamp and Spin. This actually has just the regular stamping platform on there. But the one I've been using and rocking for the past little while since I picked it up at Creativation in 2024, so that was back in April, is this bad boy. This is what we're using for the entire video. So look how mucky and funky it is. That means it's well loved. I love that. So who's ready to make some cards? Let's jump in and get started. So here is our first card we're going to be making with the Stamp and Spin, using some snowflake stamps to build our background in a symmetrical pattern. For this first card, we're going to make a standard A2 size card, but I've gone down by 2 sizes. So this is measuring to be 3 1/4 by 5. And we're going to line this up perfectly in the center as best as we can. There we go. And we're going to create a standard wreath element across this. And we're going to use this really cute stamp set that is all about snowflakes from Catherine Pooler. This one's called White Christmas. And we have all these pretty snowflakes. We're not going to use the largest one because we're going to save that for an element that's going to go in the center. Pulled out 3 pretty colors. I'm using Fiesta Blue, Aquatini, and Frosted. We're going to start with the small one. We're going to go not quite in the center. So the center is where this part goes. We're going to go a little higher than center. So we're going to start there. There we go. And then we're going to stamp it. And we're going to use Frosted for our first one. So just like any stamping platform, I'm just going to kind of shift off to the side so you can see. We're going to go tap, tap, light taps, come back in and stamp. And if you want to do a second pass, you're more than welcome to. Because this is creating a background page for our stamps, 1 is plenty fine. And we're going to go 1, 2 ticks. You can actually feel it click. It's really fun. So there's 2 clicks. We're going to do another pass. There we go. There it is. And we're going to do another 2 clicks. 1, 2. It's going to go right there. And that's as hard as that gets. It's just tap. 1, 2. There's my next one. And boom. Okay, so we're going to come in with another snowflake. Let's just do the one next to it. You can do whatever set you want, and we're going to go right here in between them. So now I'm using the grid that I've already created, and I'm kind of building around. So we're going to go here. Again, we're going to do 2 clicks. Now I'm going to come in with the Aquatini and stamp, lift up. There we go. And we're going to go click 1, 2, and it's going to line up to be in between the same distance as all of them because that's the way it's built. It's going to line up perfectly. You don't have to worry about it. Like, is it going to fit? Absolutely. It's going to click. Oh, you know what? Look what happened. See that? So I'm going to come back in and I'm actually going to restamp. I went back to the same click spot and we're going to restamp on that. I didn't quite get it. Boom. There we go. Now I've got it. So again, because it's a stamping platform, it makes the placements of those stamps super perfect. So tap again. And as you can tell, I'm a little bit off because if I had been perfectly in line, this would have lined up to be perfect. But you know what? Again, it makes it for a pretty card, because it's just a little bit off and it's a background. And it's okay if backgrounds are off. Okay, and we're building up the entire thing. So it's the whole thing. Now, here's another thing that you're gonna wanna have, some sort of cloth, because I've got a little bit of ink. If you guys can see a little bit of ink right here. So we're just gonna wipe that off to make sure I don't get everything mucky. So I don't need to go any closer in the middle because that's gonna get taken up by that big snowflake because I already know the design I'm going for, but I'm gonna keep building out to the outside. So let's go with another fun snowflake. Let's do another big one, and I might come in with a small one towards the end. So let's go here. Now, if you're not sure how it's gonna look, let's take that one and then let's go 1, 2, and look, it's gonna fit right there. 1, 2, it's gonna fit right there. 1, 2, so it's perfect. See, none of them are on top of each other because you're lining them up to fit into the spaces. So now let's go in with our other color, Fiesta Blue, and pounce. 1, 2. And I still have more space. I do want to fill in as much as possible on here. So now I'm going to come in with a smaller one. Actually, let's do this big guy. And I'm going to start down here and I'm going to fill in the gap that's there. All right, so here is our background all done. If you did notice one time when I was passing with this large purple, when I came to here and I clicked it, the entire snowflake was off the entire page. There was no point in stamping it because then I would just get my background mat dirty. And if you are noticing, my background mat is mucky, 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 and that is okay. This is meant to get mucky. As long as your paper can still stick and be lifted, then you could reuse this. And I can also move this off to the side in any way, shape, or form. But you can get reusable sheets for this that fit perfectly on there. And when it gets too gross, you just replace it. So, but don't worry about if this gets mucky. That means just you're using your stamping platform and that's perfect. All right, the next step we're gonna do is we are actually going to stamp my snowflake. We're gonna come in with our big snowflake. As we said before, we're gonna do it in that Fiesta Blue. And it doesn't matter if it's perfectly lined up because guess what? We're gonna just die cut this out anyway. I'm just using this purely as a stamping platform as of this moment. So stamp. I'm gonna do one more pass. I want it to be nice, beautifully dark. And stamp. There we go. Look how pretty that is. And the more times I actually add the color, I always feel like it gets a little bit darker. I think 2 to 3, 3 is kind of the max, but that looks absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and die cut this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And there's our first card with our little background using our Stamp and Spin. So here's our second card. This time we're gonna also use the Stamp and Spin to make a circular pattern, but this time only in a portion of the card, not filling up the entire background, and then adding some fun layers on top. For the next card, we're gonna go with a square space. So we're gonna line this up and you can see the dark grid lines on either side. And we're gonna get this as pretty close to right in the middle as possible. And then I'm just taking a strip of paper as a guide, right? So this is just purely for guiding purposes because we're gonna build on top and the bottom. So just to give you an idea, we're gonna have a layer here and then we're gonna have another layer, which is gonna be a color, probably in red. And then this is going to be our sentiment and we're going to have foliage coming on the top and the bottom. I'm going to use this really pretty foliage one. This one is actually called Happy Holidays and it's got all these cool foliage pieces that are on here. And again, from Sizzix and Catherine Pooler. So we're going to pull, let's do these big ones or one of these big ones first. So it's right here. And I pulled a ton of just green and red inks. All right, so we're going to start off here. And it's okay if it comes off the page. I like that idea that it kind of comes off the page. And we're gonna test it. So we're gonna have it land, make sure I have my stamp the right way. We're gonna go around, oops, that's a little too far. I actually want it to come, let's go with what looks good in the center first. Maybe we'll try that route. So we'll go center, turn. We're not gonna see that. Turn, there we go. See, sometimes you have to play with it. I almost kind of wanna have it come a little bit further off, so a little higher up. So let's see how that looks. Oh, that looks good. There we go. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start off at the top and we're gonna go in green tea. So ink, 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 stamp, stamp. Just a little tap, tap does you. And then come in and stamp. Here we go. 1 turn. Where's 2 turns get us? Well, we'll do turn 2. That way it's not all the same stamp. We're going to change it up. We want to have different stamps on here. There we go. We might not even see a whole lot of this one, but that's okay. We're going to go 1, 2. There we go. And stamp down. 1, 2. So we're just kind of hitting the 4 quadrants. That's the word, quadrant. A little Christmas foliage. There we go. And actually, we're not going to see any of that. You know what? That's okay. So it's going to be more of a background. We're going to layer in between here now. So let's do a different color. We're going to do winter green for fun. So it's just a nice light color. So we're going to get some layers here. So here we have 1, 2. This next one's actually going to be in 2 steps. The holly with the berries on it. We're going to do the spruce one first. And then we're going to come back and add in the berries in a darker color. So there's it. Go 1, 2. So see, look at the layers on that. Isn't that pretty? All right, I'm going to speed this up so we go all the way around. All right, so now there's a little set of berries that go on here. If you line it up with one, they all should line up just fine. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do this in peppermint scrub. Let me show you how the first one works, and I'll speed up the rest. So tap, there it is. Go to the next one. Remember, it was 2. And there they are. And there's a bit of a boo-boo, but you know what? It happens. It's okay. Don't worry about if there's a little bit of something on your space. It's a handmade card. So now we're gonna come in, I wanna do one other color. We're gonna do eucalyptus, and we're gonna tie it like right into this little space right here. There's a little bit of a gap. So I'm gonna go in here, and you'll see where it fits in with the rest. And I'm gonna do this little fern. So we're gonna go in with this fern, it's right here. All right, so now we're gonna pull out the center, and you see we already have a little bit of a space. If you wanted to stamp in that space right there, you could, because you've made the path, but we're gonna actually add elements on top of it. That is our next card done. Look how cute that is. Here is our third card. This time we're gonna create a focal element that we're gonna die cut out. So still keeping with the circular pattern, because yeah, it is a stamp and spin, it is a circle. So keeping with that circular pattern, and then using it to create that background element that we can pop on a card, so it's only creating that fun circle right in the middle. Well, that's kind of on the top. Next card, we're gonna start with a square because we're gonna die cut it into a circle. So far up to this point, we've been making lots of backgrounds, building backgrounds. Now we're gonna create a focal element with the Build-A-Wreath. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna place this squarely, haha, pun intended, right in here, because I wanna make this as centered as possible. This is gonna make the lining up of things easier. If you really want a perfect alignment and everything is centered right in the center, squares are easy, or just making sure that you line up perfectly along the line. So this is a 4x4 square. Just making sure I get this really in here. And I'm going to cheat a tiny bit, but you know what? I can, because it's in the stamp set. So we're going in and we are using the 12 Days of Christmas, and it has all these beautiful stamp sets, but we're just sticking with the floral parts of this. I love big stamp sets that have lots of options. You can see all the colors we're gonna play with here. And we're gonna start off with the wreath because we're kind of building a wreath anyway, and it gives us a good frame point to start with. So this is our beginning. We're gonna line this up right in the center. Here we go. And then we're gonna build out from outside of it. So we're gonna start with, let's start with eucalyptus. And this is not one that we're gonna actually move around, it's just a centerpiece. Now, if you don't have a stamp set like this, it's already kind of a wreath shape, you could take a floral element and turn it into a wreath with the Stamp and Spin. I mean, that's the beautiful part about it. So we're gonna start with our first element. Here we go, build a little bit more on that. So again, if we don't want it to be as light as that was, we can always stamp a second time to get it a little bit darker. But again, like I said, you could also take, for instance, this little fern piece here or another fern type element and build that yourself. So we also have all these other beautiful floral elements that are in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and let's go in with, for grins and giggles, let's do this one. And now we're gonna add this too. So we're gonna kind of build a layer around that. But I want this to be on an angle. I don't want it to be a perfect circle. I want it to have some element to it. So we're gonna go a little darker. Let's go with spruce this time. I'm gonna go all the way around, 1 click each. I just did tap, tap. I know that was off screen, but we're gonna go stamp, 1 click. There we go. And if it ends up kind of overlapping, stamp, push, one click. There it is. See how it's kind of coming out of there? Beautiful. There we go. One click. One click. There we go. Tap, tap. One click. So now we're really thinking of a circular movement with our stamp set here and kind of building it out, creating a bigger kind of circular wreath action happening and layering the stamps on top of each other. Stamp, one more, and then we're back to the beginning. This is our last one till we're back in the beginning again. There we go. And if I go one more, we're back to where we started. So there we go. So now we've created an even bigger wreath going on here. And we're going to add some more elements in the middle. Let's clean this up. All right, so here's the beautiful thing. I actually put two stamps on here. I have one here and one here. When I'm stamping this out, we're keeping basically a ring like this. So I am keeping pretty close to the center because I want to be able to see as much as possible of the stamp set. So I don't need to go too far out. I'm going to do two different colors at the same time. So instead of always doing singletons, we're going to go doubles, and I'm cool with it being overlapped. So this one I'm going to do in red, and this one I'm going to do in another green. So the rouge is going on to the berry one. So we're doing two at once, and then here we have the wintergreen, and then here's our first pass. There we go. So there's our first one, a little bit of a color here. And if you notice, we're going the opposite direction of the circle. We're not keeping the same path for the circle, which is just fine. Now we're going to spin. There's the next one. Spin again, so I don't have to worry about, because they're in opposite sections of the wheel on the spin part, I'm never going to end up muddying up my colors because they're in opposite sides. Here, next one, spin. And now we've made it all the way back to the center. So we're going to stamp two more elements. I also have this beautiful flower. I'm going to place kind of, well, okay, so this is going between the reds right there, like that, above the red. So I can kind of place it there. A little bit of some overlap there. We're going to do it in two different colors. So we're going to come into goldenrod and green tea. So just so you can see the colors, the green tea is on the little fern piece, and then the goldenrod is on the flower. Again, because these are spinning in the space here, you don't have to worry about the colors overlapping. So here's the first pass, and then we're going to spin, and this will be our last layer. Take a look at our beautiful wreath. We're going to die cut this out in a minute, so go ahead and cut. On the first day of Christmas. So now we've created the build a wreath and using it as an element by die cutting it out instead of having it as the entire background. It's just a portion of the card. Here is our fourth card. This time we're using the Stamp and Spin to create these fun little trees. So first creating a background and then cutting them out, or cutting out the triangles first and then stamping on there, which is what we did. But either method works. All right, there's two ways to approach starting this card. We are going to create a slimline mini card, which is basically 5.5 inches square, folded in half. I then went down by 1/8 of an inch for a mat that we're going to do in one of the fun colors you see over here. Oh, there's a little one right there. So just some fun colors. We're using snowflakes again for fun. And then I went down by 1/4 of an inch for this top level. So we're going to fit 3 Christmas trees on here, and I'm going to show you how I built them. Basically, it's just cutting out triangles. So we have 1, and then they're going to have 2, and then we're going to have 3, and that's going to be it for our card. It's just the images, that's it. So how did I build those trees? Well, first of all, the height of this element right here, to my top element, was 2 1/4, so I knew my Christmas tree, the biggest height it was going to be 2 inches, so it would fit quite nicely on there. And then I just decided that I was going to go, okay, well, if that's 2 inches, then let's do 1.5 as a base, and it fits perfectly. And I was just kind of guessing with it. So now that I have these 2 elements, they all are 2 inches tall by 1.5 inches wide, I'm going to take my ruler, well, actually, my little hand, it's my handy pen, don't you love it? And I'm lining it up, and halfway, I'm just going to put a little mark right there. And that's the halfway mark for my tree. And then I come in with my scissors, and basically I cut from that corner to that to make the perfect little tall triangle. There we go. So go like that, and then I flip it so I can still see. And I'm going to go that angle. And that's how I make a quickie Christmas tree. Now you don't have to do this part first. You could do this part second. You could do all your stamping and then cut. But I figure I'm gonna cut first and then I'm gonna stamp on there, and then I can make sure all three of my trees are different colors and there's not too much overlapping happening. So we'll do like a greeny tree, a purpley tree, and a pink tree. Grab our stamps, and we're just making backgrounds here. We're not doing anything crazy special. There we go. Let's do big ones for all of them first. We actually may not even be using the spinning part of the platform too much for this, but you could put your square down, spin, create a background, and then cut them out. This is just showing another way to do it. Okay, so we're gonna go this tree, which is this one, we're gonna go pink. So we're gonna do our first one with the darker pink. The middle tree, we're gonna go in purple. So I'm gonna keep these lined up in front of me so I can see the colors. We're gonna do dark for all of them. Of course, those are both dark too. Purple, and then we'll do the blue. And then go ahead and stamp. There we go. All right, so let's see what happens when we spin it. It's probably not gonna be lined up at all. See, if you wanted to have some fun colors changing up, you could, but now we're gonna have like odd colors. The middle one, I could get away with using another one because it's the middle. Or if I was gonna try and do my trees over here to be opposite colors, that would work, but I'm trying to keep them similar colors. All right, so I'm gonna clean this all up. I'm gonna rearrange. I'm gonna use the same stamp again. I'm just gonna use a different color now. So the opposite color, hitting the opposite. Actually, let's change it up. Let's put this one here. Let's put this one there. Actually, this one here, this one there. And now we're gonna do the other colors. So again, we're treating this more like a stamping platform, which is fine. Oh, got a little bit of carryover. Not a big deal. I didn't clean them up that good. All right, so the outside one is light pink. The inside one, we're doing light purple. That's cool. And then we're gonna do the aquatini. And stamp. All right, let's flip up and let's do some little snowflakes now. So I think there's only needed to be like one or two more. There we go. Oh, I got a good pass on that. Good. And there, now we have our little snowflake trees. I like it. And there is our next card using the Stamp and Spin, just basically as a stamping platform, but using it to make die cut elements for background elements on your card. And last but certainly not least, because this video is just the tip of the iceberg of what you can use with your Stamp and Spin, we're creating a non-symmetrical background, a chaotic background, a fun background, using a whole bunch of fun stamps to create a really cool background element that you do not have any kind of rhyme or reason or pattern to it. It is just pure fun. So we're gonna make our background paper using the Stamp and Spin and playing around with the 12 Days of Christmas. So we have all these fun designs and shapes, and we're gonna start off with, and I gotta think about it, on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. What is it? I remember 5 golden rings. What is the first one? A partridge and a pear tree. There it is. All right, so I gotta find the partridge. So I'm guessing it is that little one. So we're gonna go with the bird up here. I'm gonna start remembering my, oh, they have it numbered. Look at that, because for people like me that forget what the 12 days of Christmas are, they actually have it numbered. So we're gonna be placing these, and we might only get like a smidgen of the background here. And I'm not worried about if it's faced wrong way or right way. So it's a background piece, and we're gonna cover this whole thing. So we're gonna go in and let's just do the first one right there. And the cool thing about Stamp and Spin is I can come around and it's not gonna stamp there. It's not gonna stamp there, but I'm gonna get a smidgen over here. I'm gonna get a little bit over here. So we're gonna do it in a few different spots. We're just gonna kind of lay it in anywhere where it kind of fits in the background, and we're gonna try and fit as many of these on here. But this is the first one. So this is where the first place it's gonna go. Remember, we're gonna fit 12 on here, but it's okay if they don't all show up like huge and dramatic. And a couple of them, we might only stamp a couple of spots. We're gonna go goldenrod on this one. I like it. I like how it looks on that one. We're gonna go with some different colors, but for this one, we're gonna go goldenrod. That's the beautiful thing about this particular design. Remember, stamp, stamp, stamp. Here we go. Just to reiterate, in case you don't know how the system works. Stamp it, come in, press down, lift up. If you're not happy with how dark it is, you can always come in and do like a quick little second stamp. There we go. See, pretty easy. And then we're gonna turn it. I'll continue my little comment in a minute. Turn it. We're gonna stamp again. So come in. I'm gonna move this over so you guys can see. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Come up. Oh, that looks pretty good on that one. We're gonna get a nice big one here. So whatever stamps you have that you love, whatever ink colors you have that you love, that is the beautiful thing about the Stamp and Spin, is that this is just a couple of ideas. This is one way to do a background paper. Oh, I already did that one, so I need to flip it. I need to think smarter than what I'm doing. I need to talk and think at the same time. There we go. Stamp and talk. That's the words. Here we go. So stamp. Here we go. See how that is? And let's see if we can get one more. Oh, we need a little bit of one. All right, so there is that one. I like this. Pretty, pretty. So the Stamp and Spin, here's the beginning. We've done our first one, Partridge in a Pear Tree. Now we're gonna pull this one off. And let's go with the second one. So the next one is Two Turtle Doves. Now the two turtle doves do have 3 pieces together, and I am gonna go ahead and place them all together because it makes sense. I think I'm gonna leave the heart out though, just because it doesn't make sense to me. And we're gonna place our 2 turtle doves just like this, so it looks like they're together. So we're gonna place them a little, actually we're gonna have them kind of coming off, just so we can see that they're in love. So we're gonna use apricot for this one. Hey, I've never even used this ink. All right, get our first stamp on here. Here we go, tap, tap, tap. Apricot's a little different than goldenrod. They're both kind of similar colors, but different. Next one, flip it. There we go. A little more of some birds. Flip again. We're going to get a few of these birds, and that's cool. I like these birds. They're pretty. There we go. And I think because I already have 3 of these on here, and I got to get a whole bunch, we're not even going to go the full spin. We're just going to go partial spins on this one. Moving on to the hens, we're gonna have a little hen coming up here. Now I'm gonna move it around. I'm gonna go upside down with this one now. I don't want everything to feel like it's going the same direction. Beautiful thing about background paper is that you can make things go in any which direction you want. I'm liking rouge for this. So we're gonna pick this up. We're gonna only do a couple of swipes. We might skip around a bit. Stamp, stamp. Here we go. So we're gonna stamp there. And this time we're gonna go 1, 2 clicks. We're not gonna do all the clicks together. I'll pick up 1, 2 clicks. Drop that down. There we go. And do I want to add? Nope, that's it. We're just going to do it in a few spots. I'm going to speed this up. The gist is the same. I'm going to keep on going all the way through number 12, and you're going to see some are even going to overlap on here, but I'm going to make this super speedy for you, so enjoy the show. There we go. Pile of crazy. But that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be fun, different, weird, and it hit the mark. If you don't like it this busy, if this is too much for you, then you can pare it down to be whatever you like. But let's pull it off and take a look at it up close. There it is. Now we can see all of our 12 days of Christmas, fun colors. And the cool thing about these particular inks is that you can see through. You can see the elements through there. And yes, the red pops the most, but you can still, if you spend some time and you kind of like, oh yeah, there's the swans, and there's, you know, the dancing shoes for the ladies dancing, and there's the partridge, and then there's the golden rings, and there's the milk for the maids of milking. So you really, you know, there's the pipers piping. You can really kind of get the idea, and you can hunt and find all the elements. So there's one of our cards done. This is an amazing tool. It really does kind of leap out at you and make you feel like you are using your own stamps, but in a totally different way. Kind of like re-releases all of the supplies you already have without feeling like, oh, I'm just using the same card over and over again. We all get a little bored with what we're doing, and I do feel like this tool kind of gave a little zhuzh to my card making skills by giving me something else to play with, and hopefully these 5 cards have met the mark for you. So thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, everybody.